So, Jeremy, look, we've got just days to go, and it's good that they're meeting, and it's good that they're coming out of it and saying that the meeting wasn't worthless. But the real question is, when is it going to be worth something? When is there a deal? Where does this stand?
Yeah, Aaron, that's the key question. And it's a surprisingly optimistic tone when you consider the fact that in just 10 days, the United States could potentially default on its debt obligations. We heard the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reaffirming that high likelihood that early June will indeed be the X date when the U.S. Could no longer pay its bills. We just heard from the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. He emerged saying that it was a productive discussion. He said the tone of the meeting was better than it ever has been at this point in the negotiations. And he said that those negotiators, the White House's top staff and McCarthy's deputies, they're going to get right back to the negotiating table this evening with a bit of a clearer sense of direction from the key principals here, the president and the Speaker of the House. But that being said, it's very clear that there is still a wide gap between these two sides. I asked the Speaker of the House specifically about something President Biden raised at the beginning of that meeting, which is he wants revenue to be on the table here. I asked the Speaker if he's willing to talk about that. He said flatly, no, that is off the table for him. He also said that cuts to defense spending are also off the table. And so it's very clear that there are a lot of issues still to resolve. And as Congressman Patrick McHenry, one of the lead negotiators on the Republican side, told me, nothing is agreed to until everything is agreed to. But the Speaker said that he expects to be speaking with the president every day going forward. Aaron.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. And I'm sure Patrick McHenry learned his lesson from the speakership itself, right? You don't, at this point, you're not going to count anything until you actually have it all sitting there. All right, out front now, Republican Congressman Dusty Johnson of South Dakota. He is a close ally to Speaker McCarthy and has been in his ear throughout these talks. He's also the chairman of the Republican Main Street Caucus, which is a group of more than 70 House Republicans. So, Congressman Johnson, I appreciate your time. Everyone should know that over the weekend, you warned that the U.S. was, quote, at real risk of default. I was just talking about the banks and how they're saying this feels different than other times. They are more concerned. Do you still feel the same way, that there is a real risk of default tonight?
I think there is a real risk, but it is receding ever so slightly. The staff talks this morning, I think, went better than they had in quite a number of days. And I got the sense that the Speaker and the President's conversation was also helpful. We are a long way from the end zone, but at least we're pointed in the right direction again.
All right, so look, I mean, I'd like to hear more than receding ever so slightly, but it's sure better than the alternative. I hear you on that. So Republicans, though, obviously have, used default, the threat of a default, to secure spending cuts. So the White House has offered to cap future spending at current levels, which obviously, look, we're all dealing with inflation. If you do that, that would amount to a 5% cut when you adjust for inflation, as opposed to these automatic inflation-linked increases, right? House Republicans rejected that. Can you tell me why?
Because we told them this was going to happen. When they passed on party line votes the $2 trillion American Rescue Plan, we said, well, how are you going to pay for it? When they did the $1.7 trillion Inflation Reduction Act, we said, how are you going to pay for it? When they did the $1.7 trillion omnibus just in December, we said, how are you going to pay for it? The Democrats, with one-party rule in this town back then, could have raised the debt ceiling any of those times. Instead, they put our whole country in a box when they gathered up the $6 trillion worth of one-party spending and then expected that they were going to get the debt ceiling raised for free. We are moving toward insolvency. We need the big boys and the big girls to actually start moving spending in the right direction.
All right. Now, that may all be true, but you mentioned $2 trillion, so I do want to ask you something. You did vote for a $2 trillion spending bill. It was President Trump's COVID relief bill, and that did add to the debt. How's that $2 trillion different than their $2 trillion?
Because one was in the early days of the pandemic when everybody agreed that we needed those resources. It passed 98-0 in the U.S. Senate. When you've got Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders singing from the same sheet of music, clearly you're in a national emergency. But then go forward 18 months later when we've got the vaccine, when infection levels are coming down, when hospitalization levels are coming down, when we're already in a recession that had been over for more than a year. You do not need to spend like you're in the Great Depression when you're already a year into recovery. That's the difference, and I think it's a pretty gosh darn big one.
So let me ask you, though, when they say, or when you have put on the table, kind of clawbacks for some COVID relief, my understanding is that that was put out there, had gone nowhere. Is that something that could go through?
Yes, I think that's one of the areas where we're closest on agreement. Now, Patrick McHenry is right. Nothing's agreed to until everything's agreed to.
Well, as I said, he learned the hard way as we were all there that late night with Speaker McCarthy. He knows, yeah.
Yes, we all learned the hard way then, but that is an area where I think the president has said the pandemic is over. Those dollars, I mean, tens of billions unobligated, that is relatively low-hanging fruit.
All right, and then one final question, the 14th Amendment, that President Biden says he believes he has the authority to go ahead and take Congress out of the picture, raise the debt limit, on his own, Congressman. That would be invoking the 14th Amendment. Constitutional law professor Lawrence Tribe wrote an op-ed supporting that, saying that it could be possible. Do you think that there's anything to that?
I don't know why in this country we continue to get more and more comfortable building an imperial presidency. I get it. It is hard to get things through Congress. But listen, I raised concerns about executive overreach under the last president, and of course I have raised them with this president. We do not want to live in a country where a president can sign $600 billion checks, student loan forgiveness, without permission by Congress. And we don't want to live in a country where the president can, in an unlimited way, borrow money. Let's just have Congress do its job. How about that?
Well, yeah, and I would say when it looks at executive orders, I think everyone could agree from looking at presidents of both parties, it is all way too overused. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Congressman.
Thanks for having me.
All right.